Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. Thanks for staying with us. I'm pleased to have with us here today Jason Kelly. He is the author of Bloomberg's cover story, The Ultimate Money Machine, Artificial Intelligence, AI for short, folks, comes to Wall Street. Jason, welcome to Traders Nation. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Good, good. How you like that, Jason? Artificial intelligence coming to Wall Street. Oh, I don't know about that. Is that trouble? Who's doing it? What's going on?
Well, excuse me, we're basically seeing it in a number of places. We're seeing it in some of the prop trading desks of some of the big firms. Lehman Brothers was one that we highlighted in the article.
Yeah.
Clearly it's happening up and down Wall Street. The most interesting place it's happening, and obviously the hardest to crack, is a lot of the hedge funds who have gone to many of the top universities. Carnegie Mellon has a great AI program,
yeah.
UPenn, MIT, and they're plucking PhDs out and trying to create what we referred to as we were doing the story as really what's beyond quant.
Right, right. All right, now you mentioned Lehman Brothers Holdings, of course. What they're trying to do is they're trying to teach a computer to think like a Wall Street trader. Are they successful at that or partially successful? How far along are they, do you know?
They are partially along the way, and some of the most interesting things that are happening inside the universities, you know, as they have a little bit more of a luxury to test things.
Sure.
I mean, the nice thing about Wall Street is obviously there are huge amounts of data out there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of data that they can play with. The other thing that they can play with, and this is where some of the more interesting and kind of crazier innovations are around natural language processing. So basically not just taking ones and zeros and numbers of data sets, but actually looking at words that people are saying, sentiment around stocks, sentiments around markets, and trying to make decisions based on that.
Now, Jason, that's a lot of variables. It really is. I mean, that's so wide and expanded from when Big Blue beat the chess player. Okay, I think, was it 98, I think, or 97? What year was that?
Yep, right around there. Uh-huh.
There's X amount of moves when playing chess, but I tell you what, in the market, there's a lot more variables that are involved. Will they ever be able to actually nail it down?
Well, that's one of that. I mean, you touch on really the biggest challenge here. And what they talk about when you talk to researchers is the idea of a closed system, a chess game, handwriting recognition, things like that, and an open system, which obviously the market is.
All right, now how is the AI, if successful, how's that going to change the world? Here's a good thinking about, here's something good about this, is that what if it does change the markets, which I think will be a problem, because to be a winner, somebody has to lose. If there's a lot of winners out there, that's going to really offset how the market plays, right?
Well, it will. I mean, you know, as the people that I talk to for this story, I mean, they're all interestingly. I mean, they're all nerds, delightfully so.
Yeah.
But they are also, you know, they're big believers in the market as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, essentially, as these things become more pervasive.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. I wouldn't want to be on the end of the computer that's losing money, that's for sure. You might have to go back to basics, Jason, where you look at your charts and you follow your gut feeling. I don't know if AI has gut feelings, does it?
Well, that's really what they're trying to instill, but at the same time, what they say is, you know, a computer, at least today, cannot deal with a truly, you know, unpredictable, you know, so-called exogenous event like a terrorist attack or something that will really instill a panic in the market. So they're building these systems so that people, you know, can still step in and say, you know what, this isn't computer what you think it is.
All right. Some of these universities, limited success, as you've mentioned. Is there any results that are really able to see any data out there that substantiates that, or?
It's too hard to tell. I mean, it's really hard to tell because, you know, a lot of this is kept secret, and a lot of it is, I mean, for good reason. You know, it'll start to trickle out probably over the next couple years. I mean, when we see it move from the prop trading desk to the agency side of the brokerage houses, I mean, and then presumably what we'll see is we'll start to see some of these tools even trickle down to some of the online brokerages, just so you can get, even the individual investor can get a little smarter about the markets and use some of these tools. You know, I mean, it's the beauty of the Internet. We use artificial intelligence every day. Every time we do a Google search, we're using AI.
Right. Well, it's amazing. I think with the company, the brokerage firm, that comes out with something that's pretty accurate, and they're able to pipe it down to their end users, which would be their clients. I think they could probably see a significant amount of increase as far as business is concerned. I see a lot of people trafficking to that particular broker if they were able to come out with something like that. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. It certainly seems that it's something that they will work hard to do, and it would be, look, I mean, it'd be a great branding type event, and if they can, I mean, to your point, really quantify the returns that they're able to get from this, that would be impressive to a lot of people.
Now, Jason, with your discussions with everybody that's involved in AI, is there any significant changes in AI since, let's say, 10 years ago to what's being currently used today? Obviously, CPU and things of that nature have changed hardware. Anything of significance?
Well, the biggest thing that changed, I mean, you mentioned just the computing power, I mean, the processing speed, the idea that Intel now has a processor that can calculate, 1 trillion calculations a second. I mean, that obviously changes the nature of what they can do, the amount of data that they can attack at any given time.
Right.
The major change in the AI world has been essentially going away from this idea of creating a HAL 9000 or creating a really smart machine that can do everything, and basically having researchers narrow their research to pick their spot. So looking, spending time on what they call machine learning, which is really learning from the experiences of, say, a market by looking at lots of data sets over time, by looking at huge amounts of data that you or I could never have the time in multiple lifetimes to look at. And then also narrowing down, I mentioned earlier, natural language processing. That's a huge area, but it's a very specific area of using AI to understand human language, to be able to parse language in context so that if I say, for instance, wow, that's a really good stock, and I'm being sarcastic, a computer needs to be able to understand, tonality and sarcasm.
That's
exactly.
Right. That's right. All right, so in their studies, which markets are they studying? The Dow? Are they studying all of them? Or does it expand outside of that, foreign markets, or what?
It's all over the place. I mean, equities are an interesting, equities obviously have the most data, so they're very attracted to that. These guys will not look at anything where there's not enough data to really satisfy the criteria to help them understand what will be a good strategy. It's the garbage in, garbage out theory. You need to have good data on one side. So the bigger markets is what they'll tackle first.
All right, now, Jason, where can we find, of course, Bloomberg Markets June issue? Is it already out in the stands?
It is out in the stands. Bloomberg.com is also a good resource to find information on that, and really appreciate it.
Okay, all right, and of course, Bloomberg Markets magazine. It's the June issue. Be sure to check it out today. As Jason said, it is out in the stands already. You can go out and get it. In fact, it's another great issue. We get these on a monthly basis because, of course, we got great guests like Jason on. And it's a great issue. I highly recommend that you go out today and get yourself a copy of Bloomberg Markets magazine today. This one, again, is chock full of information. Of course, Jason, we appreciate you being on Traders Nation today.
Thanks so much. I enjoyed it.
You're more than welcome. Jason Kelly, Bloomberg Markets June issue. Of course, he is the writer of The Ultimate Money Machine. Artificial Intelligence Comes to Wall Street. Artificial Intelligence Comes to Wall Street. That's interesting. AI for short. And, of course, get a copy today.